As students return to school across New South Wales, the state government and Labor have outlined their key education policies ahead of the March election. Let's go live to Kenny Heatley in Western Sydney. Kenny, it's really heading up ahead of the election March 25. Let's start with the education issue. It's always a big one at the state level, and that's there's certainly no change to that during this year's focus on the election.
Yes, that's right. We're starting to get some big policy announcements now, meaning the election campaign is in full swing. And again, choosing Western Sydney, both the state government and Labor, choosing Western Sydney, the key battleground area in this state election, to make those major policy announcements. As you say, education the focus, with Labor promising hundreds of millions of dollars more and sooner. But the state government is asking, where's the money coming from? The first part of it is the intensive tutoring programs that the state government set up through the pandemic to try and help kids catch up on what they missed out on through the lockdowns and things like that. The state government is going to be extending that by 12 months, but Labor is promising to make that program permanent for 43,000 students. Also is the Gonski Schooling Resource Standard, which is basically an estimated minimum amount of funding standard for public schools that they estimate to produce that minimum standard. At the moment, state government chips in about 70%, the federal government 20%. So in public schools, there is a 10% shortfall. New South Wales Labor say within a couple of years, they're going to push that up to another 5%, so 75%, and pressure the Albanese government to chip in another 5% so they meet that benchmark. The New South Wales government say they're going to do the same thing, but it's just going to take a few more years. Here's more from Education Minister Sarah Mitchell.
That we're about to start, or we'll hope to start negotiations with the federal government on a new funding agreement. We have a trajectory to get to 75% here in New South Wales by 2027, but I've been really open about saying that we want to see 100% of school funding here in New South Wales. From our perspective in New South Wales, we think it's really important that the federal Labor government steps up here.
Also, under Labor, there'll be a big increase in salaries for New South Wales teachers. So New South Wales Labor are going to throw out the state government's salary cap, and they're basically going to say to the Education Department, you have to sit down with teachers right away to negotiate better pay. Of course, the state government is saying, where's that money coming from? How is it going to affect the budget? But the New South Wales Teachers Federation, who've held multiple rallies over the past couple of years to negotiate, to try and pressure the government into better pay and conditions, well, they're quite excited about sitting down with a potential Labor government.
Teachers deserve a pay rise, recognising the expectations that as a society we place upon them. And teachers also deserve to have a wage to be able to meet the inflationary pressures.
Kenny, on another matter, the federal MP, anti-pokey campaigner Andrew Wilkie, has really put the heat on Chris Minns.
That's right. So Andrew Wilkie in 2012 was really pushing towards major reforms across the gambling and pokey sector, but then Prime Minister Julia Gillard pulled the pin after a fairly sustained campaign by pubs and clubs. Well, Andrew Wilkie has come out and said this is a watershed moment in relation to Dominic Perrottet's push for widespread cashless gaming cards. At the moment, Chris Minns and Labor say they're going to do a small trial on 500 poker machines, and they'll try and limit the amount of poker machines. But Andrew Wilkie says if Chris Minns doesn't come out and support and adopt what Dominic Perrottet is doing, then he is morally bankrupt. Well, here is what Chris Minns had to say in response to that.
We believe it's rigorous, it's evidence-based, it's 100% supported by the New South Wales Shadow Cabinet, and we haven't got anything from the New South Wales Government. So I've read his criticisms, but I'm not going to sign up to a policy that hasn't even been released.
The other question, do voters care? It rarely has a mention when voters are polled. A new Resolve strategic poll out today says 93% of New South Wales voters that they surveyed put cost of living as their number one concern leading into the March 25 poll. As you can see, Labor is the most trusted party to deliver on that, but big undecided voters there, Kieran, which means that they could be swayed through the election campaign.
Indeed. It's a huge undecided vote, Kenny. Thank you.